Hello and welcome back. So in today's video we're gonna spray paint this guitar body that I have right here. And the thing is, this body, it's a test piece, so don't worry about it. If something goes horribly wrong, it goes horribly wrong. Don't worry about it. This body is an experiment. I've put sanding sealer on the sides, but not on the top. Now, if you know anything about lacquering, and if you don't, that's perfectly fine. This video is actually for the people who don't know anything. Or maybe haven't done it before. Anyway, if you know anything about lacquering, you know you have to seal the wood first, and then you can spray paint it. Otherwise, the lacquer will seep into the wood. Now, if you're making guitars, or if you're starting to build guitars, and you feel like, hey, I can never get to the high quality level of finish that maybe something like a professional, let's say Fender Stratocaster, since this is a Stratocaster body, would have. Well, it's not because you're a bad guitar builder, it's because you probably don't have the right tools to do it. And also you need like an entire room dedicated to spray painting to be able to do it. And a lot of people don't have that. So if you wanna spray paint, you could try experimenting with different kinds of things. And this video is to show you a thing or two, no, just one thing actually, this body, and then see, you know, if experimenting and making a cool finish could be something for you. You don't need to do what you're supposed to do, necessarily. You could try to find something else. So therefore, we're gonna spray paint this and let the paint sip into the wood and see if it looks cool. This video is just so that people will feel that it's okay to try something else. You don't need to lacquer a guitar. You can make an oil finish, you can do a varnish, you can French polish, you can use a pencil and put on lacquer that way. You can spray paint with cans. If you've seen any of my other builds, you know that I've done that a couple of times now. So let's just spray paint this real quick and see if it looks cool. And hopefully, if you want to build guitars, maybe this will inspire you to try different kinds of finishes and hopefully see that it can look cool in another way. It doesn't necessarily have to look like a production line guitar. Look handmade and it's okay. Okay, so here's the body. Here's the spray paint. I'm gonna use some gold because I think that's gonna look cool. And we're just gonna see what happens. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna move the body upside down. And we first start off by spraying just the sides, and then we move over and we spray paint the back and the front. Just going from one side to the other. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you saw me punching the guitar body into the ground a little bit, and that was just to make some dings. I'm gonna do some light relic on the body. Obviously, you don't have to do this. You can take this video and you can take some of the steps that I show and you can leave out other steps and have fun. I really like that I can see the wood grain, so it's like this color is too timed or something. You have the lighter grain and the darker grain, and it's all gold, but some parts are more gold than others. But I am gonna relic this a little bit, just because it's fun. And so I hit it against the ground. Now I'm just gonna scrape away a little bit. And I'm just using a scraper, and I'm just gonna smooth out some some of the spots. And I'm going in both directions where I want to scratch it out. And that's because when I put it like this and scrape like that, I'll get a sort of faded look here, but I'll get a sharp line here. And so by gently scraping in both directions, I'll achieve something that maybe looks a little bit more natural. I'll take this side as well, do some light scrapings here as well. And then, because this has this rounded shape, I can use this round here to get in and do some light digs. Always remember, and this, obviously, this relic job isn't supposed to be so much like period correct or something like that. I'm not trying to fool anyone that this is an old guitar from the 60s or anything, but, you know, I still think that either way, a good thing is to think, do less. It looks better if there isn't too much weird things going on. Here, for example, is a corner that I always feel like old guitar have some relicking. So, removing some of the finish here. And again, if you don't like relicking, that's obviously perfectly fine. You don't have to relic guitars if you don't want to. You obviously also don't have to be a dick about it. You can let people like what they like. And I feel like as long as you're not trying to make something come across as something it's not, like pretending like you own a guitar from the 60s when you don't, or worse, trying to sell something as, you know, counterfeit, then it's okay, I feel. Everyone should just try to be honest, and then it's okay. And so, yeah. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is, because if you look at this area here, the contrast isn't that high. It maybe looks a little bit better on the video, but in real life it's not that big of a contrast as I'd like. So I'm gonna experiment with putting some stain here and work it around and see if I can maybe get it to sink into the wood a little bit. And I'm just gonna put it on and move it around, and I'm gonna remove some of it with a piece of paper. And I think that looks rather good. I'm gonna have to go in and clean it off on the actual paint a little bit more. But first I think I'm gonna go over the entire body wherever I actually did do the scratching. And I'm just gonna let the wood, the stain soak into the wood, and we'll see what happens. And so I'll come back real soon and we'll see what everything looks like. Okay, so now you can see some marks, and I've scraffled them up a little bit, and I've added some paint into them. I've added some dye into them, and that has filled up some cracks and dings in the finish to make it look maybe a little bit more like it's been used and abused. It's a little bit wet, I gotta leave it to dry. Here you can see the back side where I punched it up against the stones on the outside. And I actually kind of like it. I feel like this is, if you want to go with a very easy, simple finish that maybe doesn't require you to have everything you need to build a guitar and, you know, like a spray booth and things like that, then I think that this could actually be really nice. Now obviously, like, you could do some things differently, like for example sand the guitar up to a super high finish, use pieces of wood that don't have weird cracks in them. I had this body drying and cracking on me, and that's why I used it for this, because I couldn't really get away with using it for anything else than a test piece. And then you know, you could do funny things. Like, for example, something that I might actually try myself that I think would be really cool is stain the body in a cool color and then clear coating it a bunch of times to seal in and then spray painting it and relicking it so that the dyed wood sticks out under. Something similar to this, but maybe like, I don't know, a glittery black maybe or something, and a like blood red wood under or something to make it look really crazy. Obviously no one would think that's an old guitar, but the relicking would be more of an art thing. And I personally like that a lot, when the relicking is more of an art thing than a trying to pretend like the guitar is older than it actually is. So here it is. And I'm pretty pleased with it. I feel like you could definitely build the guitar this way. Obviously, maybe a little bit more effort put into it than I did in this video, but this was just a, you know, tryout thing, basically. But yeah, like, you don't necessarily need to build guitars where you have a super high-end gloss finish and you need a spray booth and a big industry location where you can do all these things. If you're just starting out building guitars, I think this could be a cool way to go. And I hope I've inspired you with this video. It was basically all I wanted to do with it. If you're building guitars, I know that sometimes looking at what other people do might make you feel like, hey, I can never make that. And that's not the purpose of building things and showing them on YouTube, I feel. I feel like the purpose is to inspire others so that they also feel like, hey, I can do those things and have fun. And if you're not having fun building guitars, then you really need to rethink what you're doing, I think. It's supposed to be fun. Anyway, I hope you like the videos. Let me know in the comments below. If you want to, you can give the video a thumbs up and subscribing. I would appreciate that. You don't have to if you don't want to. And I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully. Until then, take care, stay awesome and cool, and go and build something. Wow.